It's so great to have you back. We're looking at the 23rd verse of Anand Sahib today, and we're going to be asking the question, when you've understood this wisdom, what is it that you need to actually start practicing it and falling in love with it? Verse 23 begins with, "Come disciples, the true Guru's beloveds, sing the eternal message. Sing the message of the Guru, the greatest message of all. Those who have the glance of grace, their hearts have merged. Drink the nectar, always remain in the color of Hari. Chant the mighty protector. Says Naanak, always sing this eternal message." Have you ever asked yourself this question, that if you've understood this spiritual wisdom, if you've been listening to it, reading about it for a long time, why is it that it hasn't really sunk in? Why is it that there seems to be something missing, like life still feels the same and you haven't really managed to adopt it in your life? What is it that's missing? So here Guruji says that what's missing is practice. And Guru is extending an invitation out to a group of spiritual seekers, to the ones who love this message. And Guru says, let's get together and let us sing. Let us unite and sing these divine words. And so this verse begins with aavhu sikh satguroo ke pi-aariho, gaavhu sachee banee. Come disciples, the true Guru's beloveds, sing the divine message, the eternal message. So Guruji is calling out to everyone who loves the Guru, who loves this wisdom, and those who are loved by this wisdom, the ones who have the grace to understand it. And Guru is saying, let us sing the truest words, the sachee banee. Let us sing a song of truth, this eternal message. The words that attach your mind back to that ultimate truth, that supreme reality. That's the word Sach here, the ultimate truth, that which is always going to be true, always has been true. So what is that ultimate truth? Well, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives us this ultimate truth right in the beginning in the Mool Mantar. And he says, Ik Oankar, oneness is the only reality. Everything is one. And that oneness is a life force that is present in all beings, in all places, and in all times. And this life force is the only thing that is present now. How do we know that? Because at the end of the Mool Mantar, at the beginning of the Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says something very interesting. Guruji talks about this word Sach, which is also being used here. And Guruji says that this oneness, this truth, this life force is timeless and is permanent, is forever permanent. And Guru says, Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai bhi Sach, Naanak hosi bhi Sach. And Guruji says that this truth has always been true, and more importantly, this is a truth that is happening right now. This life force, call it a oneness, call it a life force, however you understand it, is something and the only thing that is present right now. In this very moment, it isn't about you or me. It's about this life force that is here in the shape of you and in the shape of me. That is what we're calling oneness. That's the only thing that is present right now. So everything you are and everything you know happens in this ocean of oneness. It is the ultimate present moment realization. Whenever the word Sach is being used, that, remember, is something that is hai bhi Sach, that is true right now. So what are you going to do to bring yourself back into this moment? Remember that this Sach is everything, everything that you can feel, everything that you can smell, hear, see, touch. Every single sense of yours is interacting with this oneness. Although it feels like life is constantly changing, day is turning into night, seasons are changing, we are changing, situations in life are changing, but Guru is saying all the time there is something that is constant throughout all of this apparent change. There is something that is underneath all of that. There is something underlying all of that, which is the power of life, which is the force of life that is constantly there. It is a constant amongst all the changes. Behind everything else, there is an essence, and it's here right now. So Guru is inviting all of those who love this way of looking at life and saying, come, let's get together and let's sing, let's rejoice. Let's sing the words, let's repeat that message, that Sachee Bani, and sing anything that brings us back into that realization, brings us back to understanding the present moment as being this reality of oneness, of the life force, and that is the Sach that is happening right now. This is the Guru's Bani. The Guru's Bani is a message of enlightenment. The enlightening words, the enlightening language is Guru's Bani. The message, the words, the language that allows you to reunite with that highest truth. And ultimately, the Guru is trying to show us we have forgotten, we have been separated from this ultimate reality. That reality that is hirdai Sach, that is happening right now. How are you going to connect with that? You need to sing Sachee Bani. You need to sing words. You need to rejoice and celebrate. And we're going to go on to why singing. Why is singing the way to do it? Why not just read it? Why not just hear it from other people? Guruji specifically says, baanee-aa gaavhu guru kayree, baanee-aa Bani. Sing the message of the Guru, the greatest message of all. When you're lost, the only thing that matters is to find a route to get you back on track. I remember a time when we used to go driving without the satellite navigation, and all you had were your maps, your plan that you made of how to get from A to B, and you would look around and you would keep an eye on road signs to try and figure out where you were. And very often you would actually get lost. You would miss the turning which you were meant to take, and then sometimes you think you can find your way back. You think you'll just go a little bit further, turn around and come back, and you realize all of a sudden you're completely lost. And at times it was actually quite fun to be lost. It was nice because you would discover new places. You would realize, oh, I didn't realize this was here, or this is a nice place. But sometimes you're late. Sometimes you need to be somewhere on time. And no matter what you do, no matter what plans you have, and you're looking at the map and you're trying to figure it out, and you're looking at road signs, you can't work it out. You can't work out how to get back on track. And at that point, what we would do is you would roll down your windows and you would ask someone who knew the area. You would try and find someone in the local area who knew where you were, could help you get back on track. And I see Gurbani in some way doing the same thing. We are living a life that is separated from this ultimate reality. It's although we're lost. And the Guru's words is like asking the one who knows this landscape, the one who knows what is life really about, and trying to find a way to help us get back on track. So the Guru's words I see as a direction, as a guide that takes you back home. The problem is most of us don't realize that the way that we're living life is as though we're lost. And even though you have lots of signs around you that life isn't going right, we don't realize that we've gotten lost. Now, what are the signposts? For me, suffering is a signpost that something has gone wrong. Something has gone wrong with how we were meant to live life. How life was meant to be was not meant to be with suffering. And every time you feel that things are not going right in my life, something's gone wrong, I don't feel good about life, that should be seen as a signpost that you aren't living the truth. You have gotten lost. You've gone down the wrong direction. You've placed your attention on an illusion, on something that is false. You're not focused on the ultimate truth. You've placed too much importance on short-lived things. And this is what we do. Isn't that why we feel pain and suffering? We have things in our life and when they go, when something happens to them, we feel like that shouldn't have happened. And so we lose something in our life, or we create an idea of how life should be. And we create that as the thing that we're holding on to. And when life doesn't quite meet that expectation, then again, we start to suffer. So what we've done is we've placed too much importance on something that isn't the ultimate truth. We've placed our importance on something that's a very small, temporary truth. And the way I like to think about this is, if you think about the importance that a child places on a toy. Now, for the child, that's the most important thing. Think about a child who has maybe their favorite toy. And if something happens to that, if they can't find it, then look how they react, look how they feel. I can't find it, somebody help me find it. Where's it gone? Or it breaks. How upset do they feel? Now, as an adult, we don't have that kind of relationship with toys. For us, we try to console the child and we say, it's okay, there'll be more toys. You look how many others you have. Or it's okay, we can go and buy another one. So we don't have that same emotional connection, that love, because we haven't created that bond with it. We understand it to be something that's temporary. We understand that if a child loves a toy today, that same toy that was their favorite toy tomorrow will not be. Or eventually in a couple of years, they'll completely grow out of it and they'll forget that that toy ever existed. We know the relationship that they have is temporary. Now, the spiritual masters are looking at us with the same understanding. They know that everything that we think is important in life isn't actually that important. They've transcended, just the way we've transcended our love of toys, the love that we used to have as children, we've transcended that. And the same with the spiritual masters. They've transcended their love for their family, their love for their possessions, their love for their livelihoods and expectations of life, and even love for being alive itself. They've transcended all of that. And we haven't. So we still have attachments to all these things. And the spiritual master is saying, you need to have a better perspective. You need to look at life in a better way. You aren't focused on the ultimate truth. You're lost. You're misguided. Let me help you find your way home. And this is what the wisdom is saying to us. And every time you have a feeling of discomfort, every time you feel unease within yourself, sadness, suffering, pain, anger, see them as signposts that you've got lost somewhere on your way. And the Guru is going to give you the way. But a lot of the times we don't know where to go to solve these problems. We're always looking to solve our suffering. We're always trying to find a way to live a life that doesn't have any sadness in our life. But we're looking in the wrong places. And the Guru is saying that the solution is when you come home to your truth, to that Sach, the ultimate truth, the ultimate reality of life, and you stop seeking. You stop looking for short-term happiness. You sit in the place that is constantly there, quiet, still, peaceful within you. That mindset that isn't attached to short-term pleasures, that's what you're looking for. And the Guru is saying you need to find a way to get back into that space. So in just the first two lines, the Guru has said that there are essentially 4 components that we need to bring us back home. The first one is the Guru's Bani, the Sachee Bani, the wisdom, the message of oneness. The Guru has also said that you need sikh, you need the company of other people who are also living this lifestyle, other spiritual seekers. And then there's also gaavhu, there's also singing, kirtan, and that is the practice. That's the thing that when you've understood this wisdom, when you've heard it time and time again, when you've listened to enough lectures or read enough books, you need to actually have a practice that says, when life feels like it's going in the wrong direction, what is my practice? What is the thing that I actually use at that point to bring me back home? And the method that the Guru is saying is to align your thoughts with the oneness. Use Bani, use Kirtan, use singing, use Naam, use the message, the words of truth to bring you back to that truth. But there's a 4th element. And the Guru's always reminding us that the 4th element is the most important one. And here, Guruji talks about this ultimate ingredient in the next line. Jinko nadar karam hovai, hirdai tinaa samaanee. And of course, the fourth element is the glance of grace. Those who have the glance of grace, their hearts have merged. Grace, as well as having the wisdom, as well as having the practice, as well as having the company of all of those around you, you also need the grace, the opportunity to remember. And I don't know if you've noticed, but how many times do you go down this path of mental anguish and anxiety and worries and stress, and it seems to last for a while, and then some other times where you're gonna go down that same route, all of a sudden the wisdom kicks in and you realize that this isn't something that you're controlling. Sometimes you just forget. Sometimes even if you're reminded of this wisdom, it doesn't quite awaken. You're still too attached to the problem. And sometimes you're able to see the problem really clearly, you're able to see your thought processes really clearly, and you're able to step away from them. So what's happening here? This isn't you controlling how you react to your suffering. This is grace. Sometimes you're just lucky that this wisdom pops up into your head at the right time and it makes sense, and it's something that you understand. And the Guru is saying, use a practice. The more you practice singing, the more you practice actually breaking your thought patterns away from the problem and reminding yourself of this oneness, use a word, actually use a practice, a mantra, a kirtan, a banee that brings you back into this place. But even then, there's going to be times where it's not going to work. And that ultimate final ingredient that you need to bring you back home is grace. And Guru goes on to say, peevhu Amrit, sadaa rahhu har rang, japihu saarigpaanee. Drink the nectar, always remain in the color of Hari, chant the mighty protector. So Guruji is talking about drinking the nectar of Amrit. What is Amrit? We've talked about this before. Amrit is awakening. Amrit is Naam, which means the awakened mindset. Guruji is saying, drink this wisdom that brings you back to that juice of life. I try and describe, when I talk about Amrit with my kids, I describe it as the tastiest juice of life. That juice of life is in your mind, but you're not drinking in it as long as you are trying to find happiness through other pleasures. We do this all the time. We try and find happiness elsewhere, and we think that these temporary pleasures, the little sips of pleasure that we're getting from other places, is where happiness exists. But Guru's saying, no, the Amrit is within you. Drink that divine understanding that's already there within you. So it's about this blissful realization that you get. That's what Naam is. Awakening to the universal essence that's all around you. And Bani is the message that awakens you. One way to think about it is that these spiritual masters have an awakened way of looking at life. And when that awakening has to manifest in the world, it manifests in Naam. It manifests in Bani. It manifests in words to help you to describe what it is. And maybe another way to think about it is, if you eat something really sweet, sugar, honey, a really tasty fruit, that flavor is something that you can't put into words. But as soon as you try to put it into words, you try and bring the flavor out into a way that you can transmit that to someone else. Because the only way for someone else to experience it is for them to taste it as well. But until they've had the opportunity to taste it, you're trying to explain it to them. You're trying to use any words that says it's sweet, it's soft, it's warm, it's juicy, it's delicious. It's all these kinds of words that you're trying to use. That's what Bani is. The Guru trying to explain to you the wisdom and the mindset, the awakened state that he is in. And so Guruji is saying, if you constantly allow yourself to read these words, hear these words, sing these words, you will begin to taste the flavor. Because remember, unlike the example of tasting something sweet, which is external. You have to get the sweet from somewhere outside. The Guru is saying, if you keep reciting, understanding, singing this wisdom, that sweetness will come from within, because that's already within you. The Amrit is already within you. You just have to find the way to tap into it and drink that Amrit. So this is what it means when Guruji says, sadaa raho har rang, always remain in the har rang. The word rang means to be colored. And I remember as a child growing up in India, my mother would sometimes take me to the market because clothes after a while needed to be recolored, and she would have all of these brightly colored clothes and she would take them to the market and she would try and find someone who could bring that color back to life, bring those clothes back to its original color. And there would be various people in the markets who would have these huge large pots of boiling hot liquid, and they would put different colored powders in there and they would boil that liquid, and then within that you would put your old items of clothing and you would soak it in there for a while and then bring it back out, and all of a sudden that same item is now fully recolored. So that's what this rang is, to be colored, to be drenched in this. And Guru is saying, in the same way as you drench clothes into a color, in the same way, drench yourself into this wisdom. Let this wisdom be something that you're completely drowning, submerging into, so that when you come out recolored. Sadaa raho har rang, always stay with this divine color. Another way to understand this rang, this color, is with love. Guruji is saying, always be in love with it. Be in this state of ultimate love. And now the question that comes is, how do you fall in love with it? How do you take this wisdom that we've heard, that we think we understand, we've heard it time and time again, the message is the same. How do we fall in love with it? There are so many things that we love in life. There are so many distractions that we have in life, and they seem so real because we can touch them, and we can taste them and smell them and feel them. So it's understandable to create attachments because we can love things that we can feel with our senses. How do we fall in love with something that is seemingly quite abstract? Guruji says here, the how, japihu saarigpaanee. Guruji uses this word saarigpaanee. Saarigpaanee is actually an old Sanskrit word, and it means the one who has the bow in his hand. So it comes from the word sarangam, which is another word for the divine in the form of Vishnu, and he holds this large bow, like a bow and arrow, in his hands, and paanee is his hands. Saarigpaanee is the divine who holds the power of life in his hands. Guruji says, japihu saarigpaanee. Sing, chant, recite words that reminds you of the one who holds all the power. That saarigpaanee is the one who holds all the power in his hands. Remind yourself of that one who holds all the power. Now, we've heard this message time and time again within the Anand Sahib. This idea of power is also the same as pana, also the same as hukum. That which is the supreme power of life, the force of life. I love using the word life force to try and understand it. And what I really like about this the use of this word saarigpaanee here is Guruji is using so many different words. We've heard the word Hari being used before, and there are so many words in the Guru's language that point to this power of life, and here Guruji is using a Sanskrit word saarigpaanee. And what Guru is trying to point to is, it really doesn't matter what word you use. The specific name is not what's being prescribed here. You can use any name to try and bring your understanding back, but use a word, use a mantra. When you are stuck in a particular way of thinking, use a word that snaps you out of it, and praise that. Get into the habit of praising, constantly using that word and using it as a praise. Now, one of the ways I like to think about it is, we are so easily caught up with tiny little obsessions in our life. I know with my IT background, I really love technology, and it always feels like every few weeks there's a new piece of technology that I'm obsessing about. I'm going online, I'm reading reviews about it, I'm watching videos about it, and even if I have no intention of buying it, I'm always interested to find out what's happening, what's the latest technology, what can you do with this gadget that you couldn't do with the last model. And something that I had never even thought about, never heard of, certainly don't need it in my life, all of a sudden it's become an obsession. All of a sudden it's all I can think about. Any spare moment I go online and I'm trying to watch videos and trying to learn more about it. So what's going on there? What's happening is that we are creating an idea of bliss with that item, with that obsession. We create a hope that if I was to get this new product, I would get some bliss with that. I would feel happier. And that might actually be true. For a short term, you could do that. You can go and get that. But notice how you're always falling in love with new things, how there's always something new, there's always something better that's out there. And so the Guru is saying, you're falling, you're forgetting, and you're making the same mistake again and again. And we do this whether it's with tech gadgets or whether it's with fashion or clothes or even new TV programs that we want to watch or music. It doesn't make a difference. The Guru is saying what you're doing is you're creating a hope that there is a bliss at the end of that product, at the end of that new obsession, something new. We could even do this with relationships. Moving on from one partner to another, getting bored with people and trying to find new and exciting experiences, going to new places, new destinations. We're always doing this, and Guru is saying you're falling again. You're falling for the same mistake over and over again. And the Guru is saying this is why you need the company of other people who remember, the pi-aariho, the ones who love this way of thinking, the ones who love getting off the misguided path and going back on track. And so this is this community that Guru is saying. You need the community of people who are dedicated to the highest truth, because that highest truth leads me to my highest well-being. And the Guru is saying, spend time with those people who are the lovers of this highest truth, because they will help you sing songs of love and get back in love with that force of life. Understanding always that the force of life is the real player that's out there, the one that's actually playing this game. You think you're playing the game of life, but it's not you. It is the force of life playing through you, playing as you and as every other character. And the Guru is saying, look, you've tried everything else. You've fallen in love with so many other things. So the Guru is saying, let me give you a new obsession. Let's make loving everything your new obsession. What does that mean? You know how when we are craving after things, we are hoping that bliss is attached to that. If we get it, then we will feel happier. Well, the Guru is saying, what if love became the thing that gave you bliss? Not loving something, but love itself. Loving all things. Place your hope of bliss into loving everything. See everything as sacred. See everything with fresh eyes. Let everything remind you of going back into your home, which is the home of love. And the way I like to do this is, can you respond to every moment with love? Can you find a way to constantly love everything at every moment? Anything that happens, our mind starts to react, respond in its natural ways based on how we've been conditioned. But the Guru is saying, can love be your response? Now it sounds like a good idea, but the most important question is, how do we do this? How do we constantly do this? How do we make sure that we don't forget to go back into our old ways? And this is where time and time again the Guru is saying, spend time with other people who are doing this. Get together, sing kirtan, sing with those who are also lovers of this divine understanding. And the Guru is saying that this is a lot more than just singing. This is a lot more than any spiritual practice that you may have seen, going to the gurdwaras, going to your temples, wherever you see bhakti and kirtan being done. You might think, well, I've done that before. I've sat and I've listened to these praises and I've sang along. The Guru is saying, no, singing isn't enough. It is getting together with other people who understand that along with singing, there's an emotion attached to it. Singing with love. Doing this kirtan is an action of love. There is an emotion involved with the mantra, with the kirtan. And so Guru is saying, don't just repeat it. Use love as the mantra itself. It doesn't matter what the word is. Remember, Guruji used this word saarigpaanee. It doesn't matter what the word is, but the emotion is pi-aariho. Pyar, aavhu sikh satguroo ke pi-aariho. Come, singers, let us sing together with love. And so Guruji is saying, don't just repeat these words. Feel them. Drink them. Sing them as a song. Let yourself be colored and drenched and drowning in this emotion of love. Let the words of love, of eternal truth, change your understanding of the world, change your understanding of yourself. So the way I like to think about this is, how do we get into a practice of not falling into the trap always? How do we get into a practice of remembering to not see things as good or bad, not labeling things as right or wrong, as things that we want and things that we don't want? How do we get into that habit? The Guru is saying, make love as your mantra, as your mantra, as your praise, as your spiritual practice. Get together with other people who understand that love is the most important thing, and use love, that you are constantly reminding yourself to love every moment. Even that's going to feel so strange. That's going to feel so alien to us, because that's not how we think about the world. That's not how we've been brought up. That's not how we understand our relationship with the world. We'll say, well, what do you mean I should love everything? How do I love everything and everyone? There are some people who are not worthy of my love. And this is where you start to create dualities and you start to create divisions. There are things that I love and things that I don't love. And the Guru is saying that is when you fall. That is when you've gone off the path. Can you go back? Go back to that understanding that everything is one. Nothing is you or yours. Nothing is for you or against you. It is all oneness playing with oneness. And you need to have a practice that brings you back to this understanding. And Guru is saying, let's use love. In this verse, Guru is talking about the importance of love and singing the Sachee Bani, using a loving way to bring you back into that ultimate truth. So don't make this a practice of, okay, I must love this person, I must love that person. Don't make it a burden. Make it a practice where love is what you are, not what you do. Love is the home that you live in. And when you live in the home of love, everyone who comes to your door comes into that circle of love, comes into that space of love. And so it becomes not about me loving you, about me loving something. It is about love interacting with love. Everything is the emotion of love. So even those who make our life difficult, can we practice letting go? Can we practice learning to respond in that moment, in that Sach? Remember, hai bhi Sach has to happen now. Truth is happening now. It's not something that you do in the future or you have to remember about the past. If you want to connect with it, connect with it now. So in this moment of now, whatever the situation is that's facing you, can you practice responding to that moment with love, letting go of your attachments, letting go of your grievances and your problems, and learning to use a mantra or a word that allows you to bring you back into that, allows you to be an instrument of love, making your life as a goal of remembering love. Remember, the goal of spirituality is that you feel less burdened by you. That's what all the problems are in life. We think our burdens are other things and other people and other problems. But really, we are the burden. The I am, the me, is the burden. The me is the thing that all the burdens are happening to. So the goal of the spiritual wisdom is to let go of the me. And so we can use love. In this verse, Guru is talking about using love to bring you back into that Sach, that ultimate truth. And Guru concludes by saying, kahai naanak, sadaa gaavhu, sachee Bani. The Guru repeats the message again. Always sing with words that bring you back into that ultimate truth. The ones that make you forget your false understanding and bring you back into the ultimate realization, the ultimate truth of oneness. Answer the following questions either by writing them down or discussing them in your groups. What is your understanding of the eternal truth of life? Discuss your experiences of present moment realization. Could you see yourself using the word love as a mantra? What impact would it have to practice experiencing love at every moment?